What's up, everybody? Welcome into the CitrusTV studio for another edition of Beat the Bookie. I'm Sean Dempsey. Some may say a rookie on this show, but by no means am I a rookie when it comes to sports betting. Executive producer Jordan Leonard knows that for a fact. Shout out Saddlebrook, New Jersey. Even though it might not be the best weekend of college football, we can still make some money together. But before we can do that, we must take a look at how our good friend Shrikar did last week. And man, I really hope that we do better than Shrikar. Shrikar didn't do all that great this past week. Total loss of $32. Biggest win was Georgia over Texas and a tough loss of $20 on Michigan against Illinois. But with that being said, let's take a look at our semester standings. Leading the way by a long shot is Austin Barrick, having an incredible week, going 9-1 2 weeks ago, and Skylar Wilkes in the green, $95 in profit, and Jake Morrell also in the green as well. Good semester so far for Beat the Bookie, but we have to get to our big games of the week.
Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money! Show me the money!
Let's begin on the West Coast with Oregon versus Illinois. And let me tell you, before I make my pick, I hate this game and I hate this spread even more. The Ducks are coming off of a dominant 35-0 win over Purdue and just took down the Ohio State. Yet the Big Ten is known to knock each other down in both football and college basketball. Not to mention 21 points is a lot of points for a football game. I'm going to put $10 on the Ducks and alternate spread of 20.5 just in case this is a 3-touchdown game. But something just tells me that Oregon returning home to where it just beat one of the best teams in the country will be too much for Illinois. Let's switch gears to Texas A&M versus LSU. Not only is this a primetime showdown at Kyle Field, but it's a matchup between the top two teams in the SEC standings. For LSU, the first thing that jumps out is the dynamic offense led by quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. For A&M, the key to success on offense is the run game. The Aggies average 220 rushing yards per game. I mean, come on, how can you not love that? In games like this, I lean with the home team. That's why we are putting $10 on the Aggies at 2.5 points. Anything can happen at Kyle Field. Now let's move to MetLife Stadium, where number 24 Navy takes on number 12 Notre Dame. What is taking place right now with the military academies is truly remarkable. Army and Navy both undefeated. I mean, how can you hate on that? Running the football and triple option effectively is just magical to watch. My heart wants Navy moneyline, but we are going to put $10 on Navy plus 13.5. I think something magical is going to happen this weekend. A Notre Dame team that really hasn't played anyone all that good. I think that Navy gets it done this weekend against the Fighting Irish. But now let's check out what the producers have to say this week and their picks. As you can see on the screen there, great picture from our executive producer, Jordan Leonard. The C-suite is going with Oregon and LSU, so they're fading me on that one. But they also like Navy with the spread. I think with the neutral field, it's really going to play a big factor there. Overall, though, they're kind of on the same page with me, so we'll see what happens this week. But that's enough of the big games. Let's get into my best bets of the week. A team that has had a roller coaster of a season thus far is Ole Miss. The Rebels take on Oklahoma at home. And man, let me tell you, I kind of like Ole Miss in this one. Even though the Rebels had a tough loss to Kentucky earlier in the year and to a highly ranked LSU team, give me $10 on the Rebels with a big spread of 20.5. I think that they can take care of business in this one. Not to mention, they have one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Jackson Dart on their side, which definitely helps. Another great game with big stakes is BYU versus UCF. The Cougars have a real shot at making the college football playoff. If they keep on this pace, the key to success for the Cougars, just take the ball away and bend, but don't break against UCF's offense. The Cougars have 11 forced turnovers in their last 4 games. People say that BYU is due for a loss. Get that out of here. I'm putting $10 on BYU plus 2.5. I'm not betting on a letdown spot here for BYU. I'm not saying this game won't be close, because it probably will, but the Cougars will find a way to get it done. We have a big rivalry game this week between Michigan and Michigan State. You know what that means. We have to get some action on it. And man, this game is tough, but give me $10 on Sparty plus 4.5. This pick isn't necessarily about Sparty being good, but more on Michigan just being plain bad. This could be yet another letdown spot for the Wolverines. Michigan has now lost its last 2 games and should have lost to Minnesota as well. I see Sparty playing harder in this one after being embarrassed 49-0 in this same game last year. Let's switch gears over to Wisconsin versus Penn State, a super interesting game in my eyes. I'm going to be straightforward here. Penn State is a fraud. Their only true test so far this season was USC, and they should have lost that game. Trust me, I know. I bet on the Nittany Lions in that one. Give me $10 on the Badgers plus 6.5. Wisconsin's defense has been playing very well lately. They held Northwestern to 3, Rutgers to 7, and Purdue to 6. I think the Badgers keep this one close, and I love an underdog at home. Over-unders can be tricky, especially with large game totals, and UNLV versus Boise State have one of the largest game totals of the week, sitting at 64.5. Ashton Jeanty is on pace to break Barry Sanders' single-season rushing record and is in serious contention to win the Heisman Trophy. And on the other side, you have UNLV team that has came out of nowhere and was ranked earlier this year until, the Cuse broke their hearts at home. You can fade me if you want, but I'm putting $10 on the under of 64.5. UNLV is averaging 40 points per game, especially at home. But in my eyes, that total is just too much, and I don't like it. Enough with games for this week. It's time to look ahead at a future bet for Beat the Bookie. If you know anything about me, you know I'm a massive New York Giants fan. But sadly, I can't put a future on them to do anything because Jordan would get mad at me and I would make Beat the Bookie go bankrupt. Instead, we're going to look at the NFC North, a division that is surprisingly tight, and I think we can take advantage of some of the value here. Let's put $10 on the Lions to win the division this year at plus 120. How can you hate Dan Campbell? What he's building there in Detroit is truly remarkable, and to be honest, the Vikings are a fraud. The really only impressive team they've beaten so far this season is the Texans, but with that being said, let's take a look at the futures play so far and how they are doing on Beat the Bookie. As you can see there, Joe Puccio with Judge the home run king and Steven Sklar cashing in with the New York Yankees being the American League champions. Sorry there, Ian Nicholas with the Padres with NL champions, and a lot of to be determined. But I want to point out there, Shrikar picking the Packers to win the NFC North. I strongly disagree, my friend. I think the Lions are going to easily take this division. Finally, let's finish off with my parlay, which is where you're going to make the big bucks. Just a reminder for everyone, I'm making these picks on Friday afternoon. How could I not start this parlay off without betting on arguably the best player in college football right now, Ashton Jeanty? You're taking Boise State money line against UNLV. This could be a tough spot for Boise State, however, I'm going to put our money on the best player on the field. I mean, how can't you? He's on pace to break Barry Sanders' single-season rushing record. Would you bet against Barry Sanders? Yeah, I didn't think so. Our executive producer, Jordan Leonard, may not like me for this next one, but we are taking USC minus 13.5 over Rutgers. The biggest thing for me is this game is at USC and not at Rutgers. Last game the Trojans played at home, they should have beaten number 3 Penn State. I have faith that they can cover the 2-touchdown spread, and if they lose, then well, Jordan's a happy camper. Last but not least, we are taking Boston College plus 7.5 against Louisville. A key stat in this one is that the home team has won each of the last 6 matchups between these two. The Eagles are undefeated at home so far this season, so I really like that one. But now it's time to recap it all. I like Oregon with a big spread of 20.5 versus Illinois, and the producers agree with me on that one. But I also like Texas A&M with a 2.5 point spread. The producers don't agree with me on that one, but that's okay. We can disagree. Then love Navy this week in MetLife Stadium against Notre Dame. Big spread there. I think they'll cover. If not win, we'll see what happens. Also love Ole Miss with a big spread against Oklahoma. I think they get it done. And then BYU against UCF. A lot of college football playoff implications on the line there. And then Michigan versus Michigan State, a big rivalry matchup there. I like Michigan State to win, but probably cover. It's going to be a close game, but Michigan they're a mess. They're a mess, to be quite frank. And then arguably my favorite game of the week is Wisconsin at home against Penn State. Penn State is a fraud. They're due for a loss. Wisconsin plus 6.5. They're going to keep it close or they'll win. Boise State at UNLV. This is going to be a high-scoring game. Don't get me wrong, but the total is just too much, 64.5 for my liking. And then my future, Lions to win the NFC North. Sorry there, Shrikar, but I disagree with you there on your Packers pick. And then there's my parlay as well. Well, that's all I got for you on this week of Beat the Bookie. If you want to fade me, please go for it. If you tail me, great, let's win some money. For the producing crew, thanks for having me on the show. Make sure to enjoy the amazing games in college football this weekend.